You have arrived without announcement. You have crossed no visible gate. Yet something ancient within you has already bowed in recognition. This work does not greet you loudly. It does not call your name in public. It meets you in the quiet space where breath slows and intention becomes subtle. You are here because you sensed a truth that cannot survive exposure. You felt it when your desires grew stronger in secrecy. You noticed it when your intentions weakened after explanation. You remembered it when silence restored what effort could not. Listen now as one listens to the earth beneath stone. There is no urgency here. There is only timing that knows itself. All true abundance begins in the unseen. Seeds do not announce themselves to the sun. Gold forms under pressure far from witness. The most skilled hands learn their craft away from applause. So it is with you. This audiobook is not information. It is a rite. It is a return to the way power has always moved through the world, quietly, precisely, without defense. You are not asked to believe. You are asked to remember. Remember how your deepest transformations arrived uninvited. Remember how your strongest resolve formed in solitude. Remember how your most potent prayers were never spoken aloud. Silence is not absence. Silence is containment. It is the vessel that allows energy to mature without interference. It is the womb of prosperity. It is the shield that protects becoming from doubt. As you listen, you will be guided into practices meant for no witness but yourself. You will be given actions that leave no trace. You will be shown how to work with identity before behavior. You will learn how to give without being seen. You will learn how to receive without announcing arrival. These teachings do not compete with the world. They bypass it. Nothing here is meant to be shared. Nothing here improves through explanation. Each principle grows stronger the more quietly it is held. If at any moment you feel the urge to speak of what you hear, pause. That pause is part of the teaching. If you feel resistance, stay. Resistance often guards the threshold. You are entering a discipline older than language, a law that responds only to those who do not demand proof, a current that moves toward those who do not chase. Walk softly now. Lower your inner voice. Let secrecy become sacred again. What you cultivate here will not need defense. What you build here will not need permission. What grows in silence will arrive with authority. The rite begins when you stop explaining. The abundance begins when you stop announcing. The transformation begins now.
You begin by stepping away, not in distance alone, but in posture. You turn inward as one turns a key that fits only one lock. This is the first movement of silent abundance. Withdrawal without escape. Solitude without loneliness. The world believes solitude is emptiness. Ancient knowing recognizes it as concentration. When you remove yourself from constant witness, your energy gathers. When no eyes watch you, your intention sharpens. When no voice interrupts, your inner authority speaks. This teaching has always been preserved by those who worked quietly. The desert mystic, the hidden scribe, the artisan who carved sacred forms behind closed doors. They understood that power leaks when exposed too early. Your life has already shown you this truth. Notice how your clearest decisions arrived when no one advised you. Notice how your deepest desires surfaced when no one asked questions. Notice how momentum collapsed the moment you explained yourself. Solitude is not the absence of others. It is the presence of yourself without negotiation. In silence, your nervous system releases performance. Your body stops proving. Your mind stops rehearsing defense. Energy once spent managing perception returns to creation. There is a reason sacred texts were written in caves, monasteries, forests, and inner chambers. There is a reason initiation has always required withdrawal. Prosperity follows the same law as wisdom. It matures away from noise. You are not meant to isolate forever. You are meant to gestate. A seed does not grow faster when dug up daily for inspection. It grows because darkness holds it long enough to become strong. Now you will be guided into your first private rite. This is not symbolic, it is functional. Choose a place where you will not be interrupted. It does not need to be special. It needs to be yours. Return to this place daily, even briefly. Consistency matters more than duration. Sit or stand in stillness. Let your spine rise naturally. Rest your hands where they fall without effort. Close your eyes. Do not visualize wealth. Do not ask for outcomes. Do not form requests. Instead, assume presence. Bring attention to the space behind your chest, not the heart as an emotion, but as a chamber. Imagine it as a quiet room with no decoration, no symbols, no images. This room exists before desire. It is where identity is chosen. Breathe slowly. With each inhale, sense density collecting. With each exhale, sense unnecessary urgency leaving. Now speak inwardly, without sound. I am becoming wealthy in silence. I am allowing my life to organize itself around this truth. I do not rush what is forming. I do not expose what is unfinished. Do not repeat these words many times. Say them once with certainty. Certainty is calm. Repetition is often doubt disguised as effort. Remain still for several breaths. Let the statements settle without commentary. This practice works because it trains your system to hold identity without expression. The quantum field responds not to noise, but to coherence. Coherence forms when thought, body, and expectation align quietly. Most people attempt manifestation through declaration. They announce intentions to anchor belief externally. This fractures power. Silent practitioners anchor internally. They let reality reorganize before the world hears a word. There is an old parable kept among hidden schools. A craftsman was known for producing objects of unusual beauty. Kings sought him. Merchants followed him. He accepted no apprentices. When asked how he learned his art, he replied that he practiced where no one could see him fail. He allowed mastery to grow without witnesses. By the time the world noticed his work, the work no longer needed him. So it is with abundance. When you practice wealth in solitude, you remove the need for validation. When you remove the need for validation, wealth moves faster. It does not need to prove itself. From this moment forward, protect your inner work. Do not speak of new intentions while they are fragile. Do not invite opinion into sacred space. Opinion is noise. Noise scatters energy. This does not require secrecy from fear. It requires secrecy from respect. There will be moments when you feel compelled to share. Notice that urge. Often it appears just before momentum strengthens. Resist it gently. Silence is not withholding. Silence is stewardship. Each day you return to your chosen place, you reinforce the signal. You teach your system that abundance is safe to hold quietly. You teach your mind to trust process over announcement. As days pass, watch without analysis. Small rearrangements will occur. Opportunities will appear without effort. Decisions will simplify. Do not attribute meaning outwardly. Do not celebrate prematurely. Allow alignment to complete its cycle. The law of silent abundance responds to containment. What you can hold without display multiplies. What you guard without fear strengthens. When you leave your place of solitude, re-enter the world gently. Speak less about becoming. Act more from assumption. Your silence will not make you invisible. It will make you undeniable.
You now enter the deepening of empowered silence. This is not withdrawal. This is arrival. Empowered silence is different from restraint. Restraint holds back. Empowered silence stands complete. When abundance has stabilized within you, silence changes quality. It no longer protects fragility. It preserves authority. Authority does not announce itself. It settles into space and reorganizes it. You have encountered this before. A person who speaks little but shifts the room. A presence that calms without instruction. A stillness that makes urgency feel unnecessary. This is not charisma. It is coherence fully embodied. Empowered silence emerges when identity, action, timing, and trust no longer argue with each other. There is no inner negotiation. There is no proving. When nothing inside you is seeking confirmation, silence becomes natural. This chapter teaches you how to live from that place, without hardening or retreating. The danger here is subtle. Some mistake empowered silence for detachment from life. Others confuse it with superiority. Neither is correct. Empowered silence remains engaged. It simply stops leaking. You still act, you still decide, you still participate, but you do so without narration. Narration is the final habit to dissolve. Most people narrate internally and externally. They explain their choices to themselves. They justify direction. They rehearse conversations. This creates friction. Empowered silence removes commentary. Action becomes clean. You move, you choose, you rest. No explanation required. There is an ancient image used to describe this state. A mountain does not describe its height. Travelers adjust themselves without instruction. So it is with you. Now you will be guided into the silence integration rite. This practice anchors authority without force. Sit quietly. Allow the breath to slow on its own. Bring attention to the space behind the eyes, not thought, awareness. Notice how effort falls away when you stop describing experience. Rest here. Now say inwardly, I do not need to announce alignment. It speaks through my presence. Say it once, then stop. This teaches the system to trust embodiment over expression. From this place, you may notice changes. You speak less but are heard more clearly. You explain less but are understood more easily. You move with fewer steps and greater effect. This is not manipulation. It is efficiency. Efficiency is quiet. Empowered silence also refines discernment. You will notice that some conversations no longer require participation. Some debates lose relevance. Some invitations fall away. This is not loss. It is refinement. Refinement creates space. Space allows abundance to circulate without obstruction. Another important element is non-reaction. When challenged, to not rush to defend.
Defense implies instability. Pause instead. If response is needed, let it be brief and grounded. If silence is sufficient, allow it. Silence often resolves more than words. This does not mean tolerating harm. It means choosing precision. Precision conserves energy. Energy conserved strengthens field. There is a quiet parable shared among those who mastered this stage. A river did not argue with stones. It flowed around them. Over time, the stones softened. This is the power of non-reaction. Empowered silence also protects you from entanglement. When you no longer explain yourself, fewer projections attach. When fewer projections attach, clarity remains intact. Clarity attracts aligned opportunity. Aligned opportunity arrives without friction. This stage also brings a test. You may feel invisible at times, not ignored, unremarked. This can stir old patterns. Do not interpret it as diminishment. Visibility follows necessity. When presence is complete, it does not need constant recognition. Trust this. Now practice silence in action. Choose one interaction each day where you consciously reduce words. Listen fully. Respond only when clarity demands it. Notice how the interaction shifts. Often others fill the space. Often resolution appears without effort. This is not technique. It is allowance. Another daily practice is internal quiet before sleep. Before resting, release the urge to review the day. Do not assess success. Do not measure progress. Say inwardly, what needed to move has moved. Then rest. Rest without analysis deepens authority. Authority does not argue with the past. Empowered silence also includes joy. Do not confuse quiet with severity. Joy does not require volume. It radiates softly. Allow yourself moments of simple pleasure without justification. This signals sufficiency. Sufficiency stabilizes abundance. Be aware of one subtle error. Do not withdraw emotionally. Emotional withdrawal hardens the field. Remain open. Remain warm. Silence does not close the heart. It clears the channel. When warmth and silence coexist, presence becomes magnetic. Now complete the sealing of this chapter. Sit quietly. Place one hand on the chest and one on the lower body. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, I move through life without explanation. What aligns recognizes me. Remain still for several breaths. Then rise gently. Do not analyze the shift. From this point forward, silence is no longer a practice. It is a state. The next and final chapter will guide you through the closing ceremony, returning you to life with silence fully integrated and abundance quietly established.
You now arrive at the closing of the rite. Not an ending, a return. You do not leave with instructions. You leave with orientation. What you have practiced does not need maintenance through effort. It sustains itself through coherence. This final movement is a sealing and a release, a way of returning you fully to life without breaking what has been formed. Ancient ceremonies always ended this way, not with declaration, with quiet reintegration. You are not meant to remain inward forever. You are meant to move outward without losing center. Silence now belongs to you, not as discipline, as home. The law of silent abundance has already completed its work where it matters most, inside posture, inside expectation, inside relationship with time. Nothing more needs to be added. Now you will be guided through the final ceremony. This ceremony is not symbolic, it is functional. Find stillness. Sit or stand comfortably. Let the body settle without correction. Bring attention to the breath. Do not regulate it. Allow it. Notice how breath moves differently now than when you began. Slower, deeper, less urgent. This is evidence. Now bring awareness to your life as it exists, not as it should be, not as it will be, as it is. Do not judge it, do not revise it. Hold it gently in awareness. Say inwardly, I accept the ground I stand on. This acceptance is not resignation, it is leverage. Only what is accepted can transform cleanly. Now feel the quiet certainty beneath thought, not excitement, not anticipation, certainty. This certainty does not speak, it rests. Rest here. You may notice a sense of completion without conclusion. This is correct. True closure does not announce itself. Now perform the final sealing. Place one hand on the chest, one hand on the lower body. This connects intention and embodiment. Say inwardly, what has aligned remains aligned. I do not need to protect it. I do not need to explain it. Say it once, then stop. Let the silence expand naturally. In this silence, understand something essential. You are not carrying a secret, you are carrying a state. Secrets require guarding, states require inhabiting. Inhabiting is effortless. From this point forward, abundance does not feel like pursuit, it feels like context. You will notice changes that do not announce themselves. Ease where effort once lived, clarity where confusion once lingered, support appearing without narrative. Do not mark these changes. Marking introduces separation. Let them pass through as normal. Normality is the highest integration. There is an ancient teaching rarely spoken aloud. When the sacred becomes ordinary, it becomes permanent. This is what you are doing now. You are returning the extraordinary to the everyday. As you move forward, remember this quietly. You do not need to repeat rituals rigidly. You do not need to remember every practice. What mattered has already been absorbed. When life becomes loud again, return to stillness briefly. One breath is enough. One pause is enough. Silence does not require retreat. It requires recognition. If doubt arises, do not argue with it. Return to body. Return to breath. Return to presence. Presence dissolves doubt without conflict. If urgency appears, do not suppress it. Slow down. Urgency loses power when met calmly. If success arrives, do not announce it inwardly or outwardly. Receive, integrate, continue. Success that remains quiet stabilizes. Success that seeks recognition destabilizes. If loss appears, do not dramatize it. Grieve honestly. Remain grounded. Silence holds sorrow without collapsing. This is important. The law of silent abundance does not prevent challenge. It prevents fragmentation. Fragmentation is what drains prosperity. Wholeness preserves it. You are whole now in a way that does not require explanation. There will be moments when others misunderstand you. Allow this. Understanding is not required for alignment. There will be moments when nothing seems to move. Trust this. Stillness often precedes reorganization. There will be moments when you forget these words. That is expected. The work does not live in memory. It lives in posture. Posture remains. Now return gently. Open the eyes if they were closed. Notice the space around you. Notice sound. Notice light. Nothing has changed. Everything has changed. Carry this quietly. Do not speak of it unless silence within you invites speech naturally. Do not look for proof. Let proof look for you. The rite is complete, not because it ended, because it no longer needs to continue. Go back into your life. Do what needs doing. Speak when clarity asks you to. Rest when rest calls you. Abundance will follow the shape you now hold, and it will do so quietly.
You now learn the art of invisible action. This principle confounds the outward mind,
The world teaches that effort must be seen to be real. Ancient wisdom teaches the opposite. The most potent actions leave no trace. Invisible action is movement without announcement. It is discipline without audience. It is devotion without display. When action is witnessed, it often serves identity performance. When action is unseen, it serves alignment. There is a difference. Visible effort seeks confirmation. Invisible effort seeks coherence. You have felt this before. The task done quietly often carries more satisfaction than the one praised. The promise kept privately strengthens you more than the vow made aloud. The habit practiced without telling anyone reshapes you more deeply. This is not coincidence. It is law. Energy multiplies when it circulates inward. When it leaks outward through explanation or display, it thins. Ancient builders understood this. The foundations of temples were laid in silence. Only when the structure could stand on its own did ornament appear. So it is with prosperity. You are not meant to prove readiness. You are meant to become ready beyond doubt. Invisible action retrains your nervous system. It removes dependency on reaction. It restores sovereignty. When you act without being seen, your body learns safety without applause. When your body feels safe, it allows expansion. Expansion invites abundance. There is an old teaching preserved among quiet orders. Power grows where attention is not demanded. Attention disrupts subtle formation. Like breath on a still lake, it disturbs reflection. Now you will be guided into a daily practice of unseen movement. Choose one action each day that contributes to your prosperity. Make it small, make it precise, make it repeatable. It could be a study, a preparation, a refinement, a skill sharpened, a resource organized. Do not choose something impressive, choose something effective. Perform this action without telling anyone. Do not track it publicly, do not reward yourself with acknowledgement. Let the action end where it began, in silence. As you perform it, keep your attention anchored in the body. Notice breath, notice posture, notice the quiet satisfaction of completion without witness. Say inwardly once, "This action completes itself. It does not require recognition." Then stop. This teaches your system that effort does not need permission to matter. Over time, these unseen actions accumulate density. Density attracts opportunity. Opportunity appears without explanation. People often mistake this for luck. It is alignment finally visible. There is a parable carried by those who work with subtle law. A gardener tended a hidden plot behind stone walls. He watered before dawn, he harvested before dusk. No one knew his labor. When famine came, the village discovered his abundance too late to question its origin. He shared without explanation. The soil knew his devotion. Invisible action works the same way. When results arrive, let them arrive quietly. Do not announce progress. Do not narrate transformation. Let outcomes speak for themselves. The urge to explain success is often the echo of past insecurity. Release it. Your work is not fragile because it is unseen. It is strong because it matured undisturbed. You may notice resistance arise, a voice that says effort without praise is pointless. This voice was trained by exposure. Thank it. Do not obey it. Every time you act invisibly, you reclaim authority. There will come a moment when your outer life shifts noticeably. Others may ask what changed. Answer simply. Say little. Let mystery protect momentum. Silence is not deception. Silence is containment. Now perform a closing alignment. Sit quietly after your invisible action one day. Do not reflect on the action itself.
Reflect on how it felt to complete something without display. Notice the calm. Notice the groundedness. Notice the absence of urgency. This state is fertile. Rest here briefly, then return to your day. You are learning to move wealth through behavior before it moves through circumstance. What you do quietly becomes who you are. Who you are reshapes what appears. This is the second gate.
You now enter the discipline of silent giving. This is where abundance stops being a desire and becomes a current. Most teachings distort giving by making it visible. They turn generosity into performance. They turn offering into identity display. This fractures the circuit. True giving must disappear. When an act of giving is witnessed, part of its energy moves outward toward image. When it is hidden, all of its energy returns multiplied. This law is older than currency. It governed grain, water, protection, and knowledge long before money existed. What you release without witness returns without resistance. Silent giving is not sacrifice, it is calibration. It teaches the field that you trust circulation. Trust unlocks flow. Flow reorganizes reality. You have seen this pattern before. The help given quietly often comes back unexpectedly. The favor done without credit returns at the precise moment of need. The kindness no one knows about strengthens the giver more than the receiver. This is not morality. It is mechanics. When you give silently, you send a signal that you are not afraid of loss. Fear contracts energy. Non-attachment expands it. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to posture. Silent giving creates a posture of sufficiency. There is an ancient metaphor kept among initiates. A spring hidden beneath stone fed an entire valley. Because it was unseen, no one polluted it. Because it was protected, it never ran dry. Visible giving invites interference. Silent giving preserves purity. Now you will learn the rite. Choose something to give that matters to you, not something excessive, not something that causes strain, something meaningful enough to be felt. It may be time, it may be resources, it may be attention, it may be money, it may be knowledge. Choose carefully. Give in a way that leaves no trail back to you, no acknowledgement, no signature, no explanation. If gratitude appears, receive it inwardly and release it. Do not correct the anonymity. Do not reveal yourself. This is essential. As you give, hold one inner statement only. This moves through me, not from me. This dissolves ownership. Ownership limits return. After the act, do not reflect on merit. Do not imagine reward. Do not watch for outcome. Watching collapses the wave too early. Let the act complete itself. There is a subtle discipline here. If the mind seeks credit, gently return it to silence. If pride arises, allow it to pass without argument. This practice is not about purity. It is about precision. Silent giving trains your system to release without depletion. When your system learns this, it allows more to arrive. Most people block abundance because they grip it mentally. They hoard before they have. They guard before they receive. Silent givers do the opposite. They signal readiness through circulation. There is a story carried quietly among travelers. A man placed coins at crossroads during the night. He never watched who took them. He never counted how many he gave. Years later, when his own path collapsed, help appeared from directions he did not recognize. He never connected the events. The field did. This is how silent abundance works. It does not trace lines you can follow. It works beneath awareness. You are not meant to track return. Tracking introduces control.
Control introduces fear. Trust is the mechanism. Now you will be guided into a deeper layer. Once each cycle of time, choose a gift that feels slightly uncomfortable. Not painful, not reckless, just enough to stretch identity. This discomfort is important. It signals growth. Before giving, sit quietly. Bring awareness to the chest. Notice any tightening. Say inwardly, I release this without expectation. I remain whole. Then give. Do not tell yourself a story about it afterward. Stories bind energy. Silence frees it. Over time, you will notice something change. Receiving becomes easier. Opportunities arrive without negotiation. Support appears without request. This is not because you earned it. It is because you aligned with flow. Silent giving also protects you from resentment. When no one knows you gave, no one owes you. When no one owes you, you remain free. Freedom is magnetic. Be aware of one danger. Do not let silent giving become hidden superiority. The mind can turn secrecy into ego. If you notice this, pause the practice briefly. Return when humility feels natural again. This work is delicate. It rewards sincerity, not strategy. You are not manipulating reality. You are remembering how it moves. Before leaving this chapter, perform a sealing act. Sit quietly. Place one hand over the lower chest. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, what moves through me returns multiplied. I do not chase it. I do not name it. Remain still for several breaths. Then release the practice completely. Do not repeat the words again today. Let silence finish the work. You have now entered the circuit of unseen circulation. From this point on, abundance no longer depends on accumulation alone. It depends on trust. The next principle will teach you how to protect this flow from doubt.
You now learn how to protect what is forming. This principle exists because doubt is not always your own. Most disruptions arrive from the outside. They enter through conversation. They arrive through opinion. They slip in through concern disguised as care. External doubt is subtle. It does not attack directly. It questions timing. It suggests caution. It asks for explanation. Explanation weakens formation. When something is still becoming, it requires shelter. Just as a flame cannot withstand wind, intention cannot withstand scrutiny. This is why ancient initiations were sealed, not to exclude, to protect. You do not guard abundance from enemies, you guard it from premature exposure. Every time you speak of what is unfinished, you invite commentary. Commentary introduces alternative timelines. Alternative timelines fracture momentum. The mind of another is not neutral. It carries their fears, their limits, their unfinished stories. When you allow those into your inner work, you dilute it. This is not unkindness, it is discernment. You are allowed to grow privately. Notice how often doubt appears only after sharing. Notice how certainty weakens after advice. Notice how excitement fades after explanation. This is the signal. You are not meant to convince anyone. You are meant to complete the process. Protection from doubt begins with silence. It continues with boundaries. It matures into sovereignty. There is an ancient image used by those who practiced inner law. A vessel was sealed while alchemy took place. If opened too early, the substance spoiled. If disturbed, the process reversed. So it is with you. Your intentions are undergoing transmutation. They are not ready for air. Now you will be guided into a protective rite. This is not defensive, it is stabilizing. Sit quietly, let the breath slow. Bring awareness to the space around your body. Imagine a subtle boundary forming.
not a wall, a field. This field does not repel, it filters. Only what aligns passes through, only what strengthens remains. Say inwardly, what is forming within me is not available for discussion. It is complete in its own time. Do not repeat this often. Say it once with authority. Authority is quiet. Now practice discernment in daily life. When asked about your plans, respond simply. Speak of the present, not the future. Describe what is, not what will be. When advice arrives uninvited, receive it politely and release it silently. Do not argue, do not absorb. You are not required to correct misunderstanding. Silence preserves energy. There will be moments when you feel pressure to justify your direction. This pressure comes from collective insecurity. It does not require your participation. Each time you resist explanation, your inner structure strengthens. There is a parable known among those who guarded inner fire. A traveler carried a lamp through a crowded market. Every voice asked what it was for. He answered none. When the path grew dark, the lamp revealed itself without words. This is how truth moves. Protection from doubt also requires inner discipline. Watch your own inner dialogue. Notice when borrowed voices speak through you. Notice when hesitation sounds like reason. Return to stillness. Ask quietly, is this voice mine? If the answer is unclear, wait. Clarity does not rush. Your system knows when doubt is foreign. It tightens, it contracts, it seeks reassurance. Reassurance weakens alignment. Instead, return to practice. Solitude restores signal. Invisible action rebuilds confidence. Silent giving stabilizes flow. These are your anchors. Another essential practice is energetic closure. At the end of each day, sit briefly in stillness. Recall any interaction that felt draining. Do not analyze it. Imagine releasing the residue back into the ground beneath you. Let it neutralize. Say inwardly, what is not mine returns to source. What is mine remains whole. This prevents accumulation of interference. Over time, you will notice a change. Doubt from others loses influence. Questions no longer unsettle you. Your direction feels self-contained. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You will also notice that fewer people ask questions. Energy teaches others how to approach it. When your field is stable, intrusion becomes unlikely. Be aware of one subtle danger. Do not confuse protection with isolation. Isolation hardens, protection clarifies. You are not closing your heart, you are closing your process. When the time comes to reveal results, they will not require defense. They will stand on their own. Until then, guard what is forming as sacred. There is no rush. The law of silent abundance responds to maturity, not urgency. What is protected grows stronger. What is exposed too soon must rebuild. Before leaving this chapter, complete the sealing. Place both feet on the ground. Feel weight. Feel presence. Say inwardly, I allow my becoming to remain undisturbed. I trust what is forming. Sit for several breaths. Then return to your day without commentary. Silence now serves you as armor and womb. The next principle will teach you how timing itself becomes an ally when you stop forcing outcomes.
You now step into the understanding of sacred timing. This principle cannot be rushed. It cannot be negotiated. It cannot be persuaded. Timing is not delay. Timing is intelligence. The outward mind believes waiting is weakness. Ancient knowing understands waiting as alignment. Everything that grows follows rhythm. Tides move without apology. Seasons arrive without announcement. The the body heals according to its own order. Abundance obeys the same law. When you force outcomes, you interrupt intelligence. When you wait in trust, intelligence completes itself. Sacred timing is not passive, it is active restraint. It requires you to remain still while momentum gathers beneath the surface. It requires faith without evidence. It requires discipline without urgency. Most people abandon their path moments before coherence locks in. They mistake silence for absence. They mistake stillness for stagnation. But silence is preparation. There is a reason ancient rituals were performed at precise hours. There is a reason harvest followed cycles. There is a reason initiation waited for readiness. The universe does not respond to desire alone. It responds to readiness. Readiness is quiet. You have already felt moments when action felt wrong despite opportunity. You sensed moments when waiting felt right despite fear. Those moments were sacred timing speaking. Learning to listen is the work. Sacred timing requires release of comparison. Another person's season is not yours. Another person's speed is not your signal. When you compare, you step out of rhythm. When you hurry, you fracture alignment. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly where preparation is occurring. There is an ancient image passed quietly among those who understand this law. A gate opened only when the traveler stopped knocking. The gate was not locked. It responded to stillness. So it is with opportunity. When you stop forcing arrival recognizes you. Now you will be guided into the timing rite. This practice trains patience without suppression. Sit quietly. Let the breath slow naturally. Bring attention to the lower body. Feel weight. Feel contact with the ground. Now imagine a slow turning wheel before you. It turns at its own pace. You do not push it, you observe it. This wheel represents your unfolding. Say inwardly, I allow what is forming to arrive when it is complete. I do not interrupt maturity. Say it once, then stop. Notice if the body relaxes. Relaxation is confirmation. Sacred timing also requires you to stop narrating progress. Narration creates pressure. Pressure distorts rhythm. Instead of asking when, ask how still can I remain? Stillness is not inactivity, it is containment. You will notice impulses to act prematurely. These impulses often come from discomfort with uncertainty. Do not shame them, do not obey them, pause instead. Ask quietly, is this movement aligned or anxious? The body answers honestly. Aligned action feels grounded. Anxious action feels tight. Trust the sensation. There is a quiet parable shared among initiates. A baker removed bread too early from the oven to check progress. Each time the bread collapsed. When he learned to trust heat and time, the bread rose without effort. You are both the oven and the bread. Do not open the door. Sacred timing also protects you from misaligned success. Success that arrives before capacity creates burden. Abundance that arrives before identity creates fear. Waiting allows you to become the person who can hold what is coming. This is mercy. Now practice timing in daily life. Delay responses when possible. Allow pauses in conversation. Resist immediate decisions when urgency is artificial. These small acts retrain your system to trust pacing. Another essential discipline is neutral observation. When signs appear, do not interpret them loudly. When opportunities emerge, do not celebrate prematurely. Quiet recognition strengthens alignment. There will be moments when nothing seems to move. These moments are deceptive. Energy consolidates invisibly before shifts.
Just as ice melts beneath the surface before cracking, reality reorganizes before revealing change. If doubt arises during these periods, return to ritual. Solitude restores patience. Invisible action sustains trust. Silent giving maintains flow. Protection guards integrity. These principles work together. Sacred timing is the conductor. Be aware of one subtle temptation. Do not test the universe. Testing introduces mistrust. Mistrust slows arrival. Instead, live as if alignment is already secured. This does not mean pretending, it means relaxing into inevitability. Inevitability is calm. Before leaving this chapter, perform a closing seal. Sit quietly. Place one hand on the lower abdomen. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, I release urgency. I trust the order of my unfolding. Remain still for several breaths. Then rise without expectation. Do not watch the clock. Do not mark progress. Let life signal readiness. What arrives on time arrives whole. What arrives whole does not require repair. You are learning to let abundance find you prepared rather than chasing it unprepared. The next principle will teach you how assumed identity shapes reality before circumstances change.
You now approach the inner threshold of assumed identity. This principle governs all others. It does not act later. It acts first. Circumstance follows identity. Behavior follows identity. Timing follows identity. Most people attempt to change outcomes while keeping the same inner posture. This creates effort without transformation. Identity is not personality. It is not story. It is not aspiration. Identity is the quiet position you occupy when no one is watching. It is how you sit with yourself. It is how you breathe when nothing is demanded. It is how you expect life to respond without consciously asking. The law of silent abundance responds to who you assume yourself to be in stillness, not who you wish to become, not who you explain yourself as, who you inhabit without commentary. You already know this truth. Notice how different choices emerge depending on how you feel about yourself. Notice how opportunities feel available or unreachable based on inner stance. Notice how confidence shifts without evidence. These shifts happen before thought. They happen at the level of assumption. Ancient teachings never focused on chasing wealth. They focused on becoming the one to whom wealth naturally adheres. This becoming was silent. It was private. It was gradual. Assumed identity is not pretending. Pretending requires effort. Effort reveals doubt. Assumed identity is resting. It is quiet agreement with a state already accepted as true. You do not announce identity. You settle into it. There is an ancient metaphor used to teach this. A king traveling in plain clothes was treated as ordinary until he stopped asking for permission. Nothing about his appearance changed, only his inner posture did. The world responded immediately. This is how identity moves reality. You do not need proof to assume. You need coherence. Coherence occurs when body, breath, and expectation align without friction. Now you will be guided into the identity rite. This practice does not use visualization, it uses embodiment. Sit or stand in stillness. Allow the spine to rise naturally. Do not correct posture forcefully. Bring attention to weight. Feel yourself occupying space. Now imagine that the version of you who lives in quiet prosperity is already present, not arriving, present. Do not picture images, sense orientation. How does this version of you relate to time? How does this version of you relate to effort? How does this version of you relate to uncertainty?
Let these answers arise as sensations, not thoughts. Notice the difference. Now say inwardly, I live from sufficiency. I do not seek confirmation. Say it once, then remain still. This works because the nervous system cannot distinguish between assumption and evidence. It reorganizes behavior accordingly. From assumed identity, action becomes natural. Boundaries become clear. Choices simplify. You stop trying to prove worth. You stop over-explaining direction. You stop negotiating with doubt. This is not arrogance. It is neutrality. Neutrality is powerful. When you assume identity silently, the world begins to adjust without friction. Opportunities align without persuasion. Resistance decreases without confrontation. People often ask how this happens. The answer is simple. Identity instructs perception. Perception instructs behavior. Behavior instructs circumstance, all without words. There is a quiet parable preserved in ancient schools. A woman carried water from a well each day. When she believed herself poor, the water barely sustained her. When she believed herself a steward of abundance, the same water nourished many. The well did not change, her assumption did. Assumed identity also protects you from desperation. Desperation signals lack. Lack repels stability. When you assume sufficiency, you stop rushing. When you stop rushing, timing aligns. When timing aligns, results appear cleanly. This is why earlier practices were necessary. Solitude removes borrowed identities. Invisible action builds trust in self. Silent giving establishes flow. Protection from doubt stabilizes direction. Sacred timing removes urgency. Now identity can settle. Without these foundations, assumed identity collapses into fantasy. With them, it becomes natural. Now practice identity throughout the day. Before making a decision, pause briefly. Ask inwardly, how would the version of me who trusts abundance move here? Do not answer verbally. Let the body respond. The body always answers first. You may notice fewer words forming. You may notice less internal debate. You may notice more quiet certainty. These are signs of integration. Be aware of one subtle trap. Do not rehearse identity. Rehearsal introduces effort. Effort implies doubt. Return instead to stillness. Stillness is where identity anchors. Another essential practice is release of future fixation. Assumed identity lives in now. It does not wait for arrival. It does not anticipate proof. It rests. Rest is not laziness. Rest is trust embodied. When the mind asks when, return to who. Who dissolves when. Now complete the sealing ritual. Sit quietly. Place one hand over the center of the chest. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, I no longer chase what aligns with me. I allow it to recognize me. Remain still for several breaths. Then release the practice. Do not test it. Do not monitor results. Do not adjust identity based on reaction. Identity precedes evidence. When evidence arrives, it will feel unsurprising. This is the sign of true alignment. You are now living from the inside outward. This is the axis of silent abundance. The next principle will teach you how energy multiplies when identity, action, and silence converge.
You now enter the principle of energetic multiplication. This is where effort dissolves and return accelerates. Most people believe multiplication comes from addition repeated many times. Ancient wisdom teaches something else. Multiplication occurs when energy moves without obstruction. Obstruction comes from noise, from doubt, from divided intention, from acting out of alignment with identity. When silence, action, and identity converge, energy no longer disperses. It compounds. This law governs growth in nature. A single cell divides not by force, but by coherence. A flame spreads not by effort, but by contact. Energetic multiplication follows the same pattern. You do not push it, you allow conditions. The conditions are simple: clarity, consistency, containment. When your inner posture is stable, every small action carries greater charge. When your mind is quiet, intention travels farther. When your desire is unspoken, it remains undiluted. This is why invisible effort often yields disproportionate results. The energy is concentrated. Nothing leaks. You may have noticed moments when a small decision changed everything. A quiet choice, a subtle refusal, a single alignment. These were not accidents. They were moments when energy multiplied instead of scattered. Multiplication begins when you stop dividing yourself. Division occurs when you seek approval, when you doubt timing, when you explain prematurely, when you act from fear instead of identity. Each division reduces force. Energetic multiplication restores wholeness. There is an ancient image used to describe this state. A lens gathers light. When aligned, it ignites flame. When misaligned, it warms nothing. You are the lens. Alignment determines intensity. Now you will be guided into the multiplication rite. This practice trains coherence. Sit quietly. Allow the breath to slow. Bring attention to 3 centers: the lower body, the chest, the head. Do not visualize. Sense. Notice if attention feels scattered. Notice if one area dominates. Gently allow awareness to include all 3 at once, not equally, simultaneously. This unified attention creates coherence. Now recall one simple action you perform regularly in silence. Do not name it. Do not evaluate it. Just sense it. Now sense the identity you have assumed, not as words, as orientation. Let the action and identity exist together without effort. Say inwardly, "What is aligned multiplies itself." Say it once. Remain still. This moment trains your system to recognize coherence. When coherence is present, energy accelerates naturally. Energetic multiplication does not feel dramatic. It feels calm. It feels inevitable. This is important. If you seek excitement, you disrupt the process. Excitement scatters focus. Calm concentrates it. Many abandon this stage because it feels too quiet. They mistake calm for stagnation. But calm is the condition for exponential growth. Consider how wealth actually accumulates, not through constant intensity, through steady alignment. Compounding works because it is allowed to run undisturbed. Your inner work must be treated the same way. There is an ancient parable preserved in old teachings. A monk carried water daily up a mountain. He used the same path each time. The effort felt unchanged. One day, a channel formed along the path. Water began to flow on its own. The work did not change. The alignment did. Energetic multiplication often appears suddenly, but it is built slowly. Do not rush to name it. Do not rush to share it. Let it surprise others, not you. Another essential discipline is reduction. Multiplication increases when you remove what is unnecessary. Reduce explanation. Reduce distraction. Reduce reactive speech. Reduce consumption that dulls awareness. Each reduction strengthens signal. This does not require austerity. It requires discernment. Ask quietly, does this add coherence or noise? Choose accordingly. Multiplication also depends on rhythm. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. A small aligned action repeated silently outperforms sporadic effort amplified publicly. Choose your rhythm. Protect it. Do not adjust rhythm based on mood. Mood fluctuates. Rhythm stabilizes. This is how momentum forms. You may notice that once multiplication begins, things arrive in clusters. Opportunities link together. Support appears from multiple directions. Do not analyze this. Analysis introduces interference. Receive quietly. Integrate slowly. Another key practice is containment during expansion. When results increase, the temptation to speak grows stronger. This is the most dangerous moment. Energy is fragile during acceleration. Maintain silence longer than feels necessary. Silence allows expansion to stabilize. There is an old warning carried among practitioners. Do not open the vessel while pressure is increasing. Pressure creates power. Release it too early, and force dissipates. You are not meant to hide forever. You are meant to reveal when revelation cannot be undone. Until then, protect multiplication. Now, practice integration. At the end of each day, sit quietly. Recall one moment where effort felt minimal and result felt amplified. Do not analyze cause. Just notice. Say inwardly, "This grows because I allow it." Then release the thought. This reinforces trust in the process. Be aware of one subtle error. Do not attribute multiplication to personal superiority. This collapses alignment into ego. Remember, you did not create the law. You aligned with it. Alignment is humble. When humility is present, flow continues. When ego rises, resistance returns. Return often to stillness. Stillness resets coherence. Before leaving this chapter, complete the sealing. Sit quietly. Place both hands lightly on the thighs. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, "I allow aligned energy to expand without interference. I remain quiet as it grows." Remain still for several breaths. Then rise without expectation. Energetic multiplication is now active within you. You will notice less effort producing greater impact. You will notice clarity replacing strain. Do not rush to the next step. Let this one settle. The next principle will teach you how to weave prosperity rituals into daily life without disturbing silence.
You now learn how to live the ritual without breaking the silence. This principle teaches integration. Ritual does not belong only to stillness. It belongs to movement. It belongs to ordinary hours. It belongs to daily life lived quietly. When ritual remains separate from life, it weakens. When ritual becomes life, abundance stabilizes. Ancient practitioners did not escape the world. They sanctified it through attention. They understood that repetition performed consciously becomes invocation. They understood that ordinary acts done with alignment carry power. Prosperity does not require dramatic ceremony. It requires consistency without display. This chapter teaches you how to weave sacred action into daily routines so seamlessly that no one would ever notice, not even you after a while. This invisibility is essential. When ritual feels special, the mind interferes. When ritual feels natural, the body integrates it. You are not adding more practices. You are refining how you move through what already exists. Begin with morning. The moment you wake is a threshold, before language returns fully, before identity fragments into roles. Do not reach outward immediately. Do not engage noise. Instead, pause. Place one hand over the center of the chest. Feel warmth. Feel presence. Say inwardly,
I enter this day already aligned. Say it once. No visualization, no request. This single moment sets orientation. You have not asked for abundance, you have assumed readiness. As you prepare for the day, move slowly enough to remain present. Speed introduces scatter. When washing, feel water contact skin. When dressing, feel weight and texture. These sensations anchor you in the body. A grounded body holds prosperity more easily than a distracted one. As you eat, practice quiet sufficiency. Do not rush, do not multitask. Say inwardly before the first bite, "What nourishes me multiplies within me." Then eat without thought. This transforms consumption into circulation. Throughout the day, choose one routine task as an anchor, something repetitive, something neutral. It could be walking, cleaning, organizing, writing, preparing. During this task, return attention to breath and movement. Do not think about outcomes. Do not rehearse future. This becomes a moving meditation, a ritual of continuity. Continuity is fertile. When thoughts arise about lack or urgency, do not engage them. Return to sensation. The body carries memory of abundance more reliably than the mind. Now learn the ritual of transition. Each time you move from one activity to another, pause briefly. One breath is enough. Say inwardly, "I move whole." This prevents fragmentation. Fragmentation leaks energy. Wholeness preserves it. As you interact with others, maintain internal quiet. Listen more than you speak. Respond rather than perform. When you must speak, let words be minimal and accurate. Accuracy carries authority. Authority does not need volume. Do not discuss inner work. Do not explain alignment. Do not teach unsolicited. Your presence will communicate enough. When decisions arise, pause. Ask inwardly, "Does this align with the one I am becoming?" Do not analyze the answer. Notice bodily response. If the body tightens, wait. If it remains calm, proceed. Calm is guidance. You are not avoiding action, you are refining it. In the evening, practice closure. Before sleep, sit quietly. Recall the day without judgment. Notice moments where silence held. Notice moments where noise intruded. Do not correct, just observe. Say inwardly, "I release this day complete." This prevents carrying residue into rest. Rest is also ritual. Sleep integrates alignment. Sleep multiplies coherence. Now you will learn the ritual of receiving. Receiving is often harder than giving. Receiving requires trust. When something arrives unexpectedly, do not question it. Do not explain it away. Do not diminish it. Receive quietly. Say inwardly, "This belongs here." Then move on. This prevents contraction after expansion. Another essential practice is honoring small signs without attachment. When you notice ease, when something resolves smoothly, when effort feels lighter, acknowledge inwardly. Do not celebrate outwardly. Celebration can wait. Stability cannot. There is a quiet parable shared among those who integrated ritual into life. A woman tended a hearth each day. She did not chant. She did not pray aloud. She cleaned, fed, warmed, and rested. Over time, the house became a place of refuge for many. No one knew why they felt safe there. The hearth did. This is integration. You are turning your life into a vessel. Do not rush this. Do not perfect it. Consistency matters more than precision. Another important element is non-disruption. Do not change routines dramatically in the name of spirituality. Abrupt change destabilizes. Refine slowly, adjust gently. Abundance prefers environments that feel safe. Safety is created through familiarity infused with awareness. Be aware of one subtle temptation. Do not turn ritual into control. Control tightens. Tightness repels flow.
Ritual is orientation, not manipulation. If you miss a practice, do not compensate. Return gently. Guilt disrupts coherence more than omission. The law of silent abundance responds to steadiness. Before closing this chapter, complete the integration seal. Sit quietly. Place both feet on the ground. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, "My life itself becomes the ritual. Nothing needs announcement." Remain still for several breaths. Then rise and continue your day as normal. Nothing outward needs to change. Everything inward has already shifted. This is how abundance becomes sustainable. The next principle will guide you into legacy and sacred transmission, not through teaching, but through presence carried forward. You now approach the teaching of legacy and sacred transmission. This principle completes a circle without closing it. Legacy is not what you announce. It is what continues without you speaking. Most people misunderstand legacy as instruction passed outward. Ancient wisdom knew legacy as state carried forward through presence. You do not transmit abundance by teaching it. You transmit it by embodying it so fully that it becomes ambient. Children learn this way. Animals respond this way. So does the unseen field. What you live quietly teaches more than what you explain loudly. Sacred transmission occurs when your inner order stabilizes long enough to influence space itself. Rooms hold memory. Homes carry tone. Paths remember footsteps. You have felt this before. You entered places that felt calm without reason. You met people whose presence slowed your breath. You trusted environments that said nothing. This is legacy at work. Legacy does not require followers. It requires coherence sustained over time. When abundance becomes natural within you, it stops needing expression. When it stops needing expression, it becomes transmissible. This is how ancient lineages survived without books. This is how knowledge traveled without instruction. Presence teaches what words cannot. You are not meant to reveal practices. You are meant to become the practice. There is an ancient image used to describe this. A lamp lit another lamp without diminishing itself. No one spoke. Light recognized light. This is sacred transmission. Your silence is not selfish. It is fertile. When you protect your inner work, you preserve its potency. When you preserve potency, it becomes generative. Others may benefit from your alignment without knowing why. They may find clarity near you. They may feel steadier around you. They may act differently after crossing your path. You do not claim this. You do not monitor it. Monitoring collapses transmission into ego. True legacy is invisible. Now you will be guided into the legacy rite. This practice anchors abundance beyond personal gain. Sit quietly. Let breath slow. Bring attention to the space you occupy, not the body alone, the area around it. Sense the field extending slightly beyond skin, not imagined, felt. Now consider this quietly. What I stabilize within myself stabilizes the path behind me. Do not think of specific people. Do not imagine descendants. Do not visualize influence. Just hold the truth of continuity. Say inwardly, I live in a way that leaves the ground calmer. Say it once. Remain still. This aligns you with responsibility without burden. Legacy is not pressure. It is orientation. When you move through life with this awareness, choices refine naturally. Excess drops away. Noise loses appeal. integrity strengthens. Integrity is the carrier. Integrity does not mean perfection. It means internal agreement. When your actions agree with your inner posture, energy flows cleanly. Clean flow leaves residue of order. Order is what transmits. Now understand an important distinction. You are not meant to convert. You are not meant to persuade. You are not meant to explain. Explanation fixes meaning. Legacy requires openness. Let others interpret what they feel. Let the field work without direction. This humility preserves power. There is a quiet parable known among keepers of inner law. A man maintained a bridge for decades. He did not decorate it. He did not name it. Travelers crossed safely and never asked who built it. When he died, the bridge remained. This is legacy. It does not require recognition to function. Legacy also requires restraint. There will be moments when you feel tempted to reveal what you know. This temptation often arises when coherence is strong. Strength attracts expression. Pause. Ask inwardly, would this strengthen the work or satisfy identity? If the answer is unclear, remain silent. Silence preserves transmission. Another essential practice is tending environment. Your immediate space matters. Cleanliness is not aesthetic, it is energetic clarity. Order supports stability. Stability supports transmission. You do not need perfection, you need intention. Keep your space simple. Remove what no longer serves. Let objects remain purposeful. Objects hold memory. Memory influences behavior. This is not superstition, it is observation. When your environment reflects sufficiency, your system relaxes. When your system relaxes, abundance stabilizes. Now learn the practice of silent offering to the future. Once in a while, perform an act whose benefit you will never see. Something that improves a path, a space, or a system beyond your reach. Do not record it. Do not mark it. Say inwardly, this continues without me. Then release it. This trains detachment from outcome. Detachment strengthens transmission. Legacy also includes restraint from interference. Allow others their process. Do not correct prematurely. Do not rescue unnecessarily. Trust maturation. What matures naturally holds. Another subtle teaching is continuity through rhythm. Maintain your practices even when life feels settled. Do not abandon ritual because things work. This is when transmission strengthens most. Ease is fertile. Complacency is not. Continue quietly. You may never know what passes through you into the world. That is correct. Knowing would interfere. Be aware of one final danger. Do not let legacy become ambition. Ambition looks forward with hunger. Legacy moves forward with steadiness. If you notice striving to matter, return to stillness. Stillness dissolves ambition into presence. Now complete the sealing of this chapter. Sit quietly. Place one hand on the earth or floor beneath you. Breathe slowly. Say inwardly, what I stabilize here continues beyond me. I do not need to see it. Remain still for several breaths. Then rise gently. Do not reflect further. Legacy has been anchored. You have now learned how abundance extends beyond personal accumulation into quiet continuity. The next chapter will guide you toward the closing movements of the work, where silence becomes complete and life resumes with subtle authority.